Surely no one will argue that fresh produce is king, but gardens can be a lot of work. Today we're here to learn about a simpler system that makes all your efforts worth it.
Hello, I'm Kurt Rankin.
And I'm Chase Rankin with Garden for Life.
So I understand just a few years ago you decided to take a class and learn about gardening, and then shortly became into a full-time business. How did that all start?
Well, Dad and Mom went and took the class. We'd been doing dirt gardening, just your typical dirt garden for as long as I can remember. And they went down to Stratford and took a class, and then when Dad left, he said, I could do this as a business, and liked it. They bought 4 bed kits. They came home, helped them set them up, and then 4 years later, we talked about doing another class, and I hadn't attended the first one, so was thinking about going and, get some more firsthand knowledge of it, and, you can always learn. So ended up, Dad called back. He said, well, not doing classes, but the business is for sale. And so we own another business together. We live on the family farm together, so everything kind of operates well, and said, sure, I'm in on that. And so here we are, and bought the business in 2017 and still going.
Well, 3 years later, and now you have Garden for Life. So Kurt, you have an agronomy and agriculture background, so this all kind of made sense, right?
It did, yes. Yeah, it just fit into what we like to do. We like to help people be more self-sufficient, more food security, and in these times, that's a great place to be.
Well, I think that when I look at the gardening I've grown up with, it was fun and we enjoyed it, but we didn't put a lot of, there was no method to our madness. We were just, going and buying the plants and putting them in the ground and letting, nature run its course. But there's a lot more science that goes into that. So what made you first decide that you wanted to change the way you were gardening at home?
I think one of the biggest things that we had, just growing up, we traveled quite a bit with Dad's work at the time, and they homeschooled my sister and I, so we was always gone. Like, you plant the garden, and then as things started sprouting up, we'd be gone, or we'd go take vacation, and usually vacations worked around work. But anyway, it would all kind of come together that way, and then you come back and the weeds have taken over. And so the garden was always a fight to try to catch back up, and then it's too wet, too dry, all that kind of stuff. So we've seen all those problems. We tried to work through them, but we was never as successful in the garden as would like to have been. And the watering system too. We was talking about it out there. Like, we didn't have a watering system. It was just like when we was here, we'd turn it on. So if it was too dry while you was gone, you come back, your plants are burned up, and then they're stunted. They never do what they're supposed to. So
they can never catch up.
They can never catch up. Yep.
That's probably the problem with mine at home.
Yeah, that threw us into the value of the system, of having a system and a methodology of gardening.
Well, today you're going to take us through a few steps that worked for you and have worked for many of your customers, and a system that you guys believe in. So let's go see it in action.
Sounds great. Let's do it.
Step 1 is probably the most important. You got to set a location for your flower beds or your gardening beds. So what are ideal conditions, and what are we looking for when we're deciding where to set up shop?
Well, that's pretty simple. The main things you need to look for, you need sunlight from, say, 10 to 4. That just gets you good sunlight. And then you need it close to your residence. So if you want to come out late, right before dinner and get something, it's convenient, and you need it close to a water source.
As we enter, I see gravel.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, so if you move the gravel back, we got a heavy vegetation mat that we put down.
Okay.
And one of the main things we want our gardens to be is weed-free. And so a lot of that can come from getting the yard back away from the beds, and so that we're not mowing right up close to it and putting those grass clippings, putting those weed seeds in the garden bed.
So even when you're mowing around, you want to be sure you're blowing out.
Away from it, yeah. So, and we're actually, if you see where everything you see under gravel here has the vegetation mat under it, so we're 3 to 4 feet outside of every bed.
How long would a mat that you guys have established last?
It's supposed to last 20 to 25 years.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's a
Long
pretty
time.
thick mat. Yeah, so we want it to be long lasting.
Sure.
From the vegetation mat, then we build up, and we like to use concrete blocks for our beds, and anybody can dry stack concrete blocks too high. It makes it pretty easy to build a bed. What you're looking at here is kind of what we consider a standard size bed, a 4 foot by 16 foot, but you can build any size bed you want, but just dry stacking them too high gets you enough depth of growing medium, enough area to grow so that your plants have plenty of room and can do what they need to do.
So let's talk about the most important aspect when it comes to growing, and that is we're not just looking at dirt, or as my soils teacher in college, soil, dirt's what's underneath your fingernails,
Yeah.
But what type of growing medium makes all this possible?
So we use a mix of organic materials in our growing medium that we have at Garden for Life, and so it stays loose, well draining, and a balanced pH, and that's what most of your vegetables need. If you look at the back of a seed packet, that's what it'll say, and so it's been formulated over time, and to get that optimum growing environment for the plants.
And if you're running a regular soil garden, you can have soil testing done and sent off, but when you're purchasing this type of soil medium, you know exactly what you're getting.
Yeah. And that's one thing we like about it. It's consistent year over year. We can mix it and have it be consistent.
So I think behind us we have potatoes.
Yes.
Okay, and there's lettuce behind you all. So this is your family garden.
Right.
Produce. Is there anything that doesn't grow well in this type of growing medium?
Well, we talked about like the balanced pH. So some of your like blueberries, they like a more acidic growing environment. So you can make it that, but it does. The way we sell it, it does not come like that. So that was something you'd have to adjust to make that grow.
So these beds work for produce, fruit and vegetables, and flowers.
Yep.
Now we know we've had a very rainy spring this year, but irrigation is important in any other given year. So take me through what type of irrigation system that you guys have set up here.
All right, so we want to water just the beds. So this here is our irrigation system. As you see, we got 4 of them, and they just spray a circle, spray a diameter about the size of the bed, so it gives us a good coverage, but we're not spraying outside of the bed. We're not,
Watering the
we're
rocks.
not watering the rocks. Yeah, exactly. And we're conserving water, which is a big deal for a lot of people too, especially if you live in town or on a rural water.
Moving over here to this bed, I see that we kind of have a mini high tunnel set up.
Yeah.
Are you able to grow year round?
We are. We have been able to. Some salad stuffs we was able to grow all year round this year, that we just put the contractor plastic over that, make a little mini tunnel over it, and it works really well. So.
And what type of plastic are you covering?
It's a 6 mil contractor plastic that you can pick up at a hardware store. So.
Well, I want to know what's going on behind you, because I know I see onions, but I think I see a tomato plant. Take me through what arrangement we have over here.
All right. So yes, we have our onion beds here, and we are doing companion planting. So we've got our tomatoes in here, and if you look closely, we got some pepper plants coming up too. So they're all friends, and they got knocked down a little bit here with the rain and stuff. But yeah, so that they'll grow together well. The onions we'll be harvesting them here before too long, and then the pepper plants and the tomato plants will continue to grow for the longer portion of the season.
So you guys are you're at fairs and expos. You're putting on classes and training, but people have questions. They can contact you online.
Yeah.
And kind of direct people where they can go to learn more about what you guys offer and glean that information and education from you.
Okay, our website is gardenforlife.us. It's the number 4. Phone number, we always like talking to people, is 417-736-3251. And if you're on Facebook, you can find us there and follow our Facebook page. We put a lot of information out there and some videos and such on that.